Good afternoon, everybody. November 15th, 2024. We're headed downstairs to the lab pretty soon. I'm just upstairs. I got to charge my phone here. So these are the 832 by 1 inch. I got these little hex head bolts. I needed a smaller head on the smaller diameter head to fit in the Ciade HW210 speakers. And just to bring everyone up to date, I was making a two-part video to replace the woofers, but once I got deeper into the speaker system, I measured and realized that it was the little capacitors in the crossover that were shorted. So my woofers are probably okay, but they are 50 years old, so I'm going to go with the modern woofers and see how they sound. So I'm using these film capacitors, 2.5 microfarads to cross over to the tweeter. I'm going to mount them in the same location that the two small 4.7 microfarad capacitors in series were mounted. Two 4.7s is about 2.35 microfarads, but these will work just fine because I actually measured 2.5 on the old ones. So it'll keep the crossover frequency in a happy place. So that's it. See you in a bit. Okay, everyone, continuing with this project, you could see I removed the probably original tantalums, and the ones on the right, these are shorted. These read 2.5 microfarads, so they're about 5 each, and then you put them in series and you get about 2.5 microfarads. These are shorted. Hard to tell, but there's a little dot on there that might be where it burned through. Other than that, hard to tell that they're shorted. One's on the right shorted, one's on the left okay. Here's my film capacitors that I'm using. 2.5 microfarads. They both measure 2.46. I matched two of them. Here's all my hardware. And here's the speaker. It fits fine with the capacitor installed. Oh, here's what it looks like with the capacitors removed. I just have some residual glue there that I'll remove. And I'll show you where I put the capacitor now. I had kind of a problem with the capacitor. I'll show you that in a minute. But no problem now. As you could see, the woofer fits fine. Okay, are you with me? Yes, you are. Well, continuing, let's put some light on here. I had this film capacitor here where the original capacitors were mounted. So I go to put the speaker in and the magnet hit the capacitor. So I had to unsolder it and clean it up again. But putting the capacitor on top of the potentiometer, there's no conflict with the woofer fitting in. So this is a 2.5 microfarad. I think it's a polypropylene film. 250 volts. It'll last forever in here. I didn't want to put electrolytics in here. And then if they ever fail, then I have to take this whole woofer out again. And not that it's hard to do. So, okay, we're going to continue. Here's what it looks like without the capacitors. So the new one's going to get mounted up here. It's small. It's about 0.67 inches in diameter and 1.22 in length. Just to give you an idea. So it's not going to really affect the internal volume of this enclosure, especially because my speaker is probably a smaller structure than the original woofer. So it balances out. And I put some silicone on the wire. I had to add a wire to extend the capacitor lead down there, as you can see. this way, so it reached. I mean, it looked really good here, but it actually is better supported sitting on top of the potentiometer there. All right, so I'm going to continue. Oh, and the silicone I'm using, in case you're wondering, is 388 electronic grade silicone. The only problem, I think it takes 24 hours to cure. You could probably use regular silicone. I don't really need to use electronic grade here, just to support a capacitor, but all right. Here's all my hardware. Incidentally, I'm using new locks on the speakers, and I'm using, if you look at my washers here, I have new smaller diameter stainless steel washers. I think these are like 375. The old ones were like 433, 0.375, 3/8 OD. These are 0.433. So these are smaller. They'll fit in my speaker better. And then the heads of these, here they are. These guys, these hex head bolts, are also a little bit smaller. So they fit this, so I won't conflict with the foam here. It's not a big deal if you do, if you have to trim back that foam. But I don't want to trim it back, so there you go. Okay. Okay, I'm ready just to solder in the woofer wires here. The lighter wire is positive, and black is negative on the Hegeman speakers. I'm just waiting for the iron to get a little hot here. I just stuck my wires through the holes, and it's getting close to the woofer basket and behind here, so I'm going to bend this that way after I solder it. Let's just get a little tinning on the wire here. I just want to tin the wire a little bit. Here we go. Oh, didn't want that to happen. Don't do that. Don't feed it too much solder unless it's hot enough to accept it. I just dropped a solder ball on the woofer. That was stupid of me, but so you let it cool and then you take it off. Yeah, those are nice. This one I just want to just bend it a little bit away from the basket there. I don't want that shorting out. Okay, just gonna improve my soldering. I want to hit this with so much heat, but most of my solder ran down the terminal, so I flipped the woofer around and I'm using gravity in my favor here. I'm happy with that one. Just a little isopropyl alcohol. What I did is these terminals have holes, so I stick the wire into the hole. It's small enough. If it didn't fit in the hole, you could wrap it around the terminal, or you could just use the quick connects, 1/4 inch, I think these are. So for those of you just joining the party here, this is a Ciade HW210 woofer. I'm just trying to help people find replacements. HW210 Ciade or Ciade, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I don't know what these sound like. And what I'm doing now is just putting the new split locks and the new flat washers, which are smaller than these are 3/8 OD. These old ones were like 0.43. These are 0.375. So they fit better. The holes are 5mm. So you could do the math and convert it, and there's plenty of meat to push down this woofer once I screw these down. So these are, can you see that? Yeah, okay. These are hex heads. Okay. All right, I'm going to cut the camera. Be right back. So this is interesting. I was tightening the bolts, and I'm getting a slight distortion of the rubber surround. When I loosened them, the distortion went away. So I don't know if it's getting caught. Because I do have the flat washer, so the flat washer wouldn't be rotating and moving the surround. You know, the surround certainly does go near the threads of the bolt. So I gotta check this out here. Okay, so I could just drive this home and be done with it, but I don't like the way the surround is distorting when I tighten. See, all I'm doing is tightening this. And watch what happens, see? The surround is kind of, I mean, it's all the way driven down now, and that probably would not be a problem. But you do see that little bit of distortion there. Then when I loosen it, it kind of goes back in a way. So it's getting hung up. I think I'm going to take the flat washer out and see if it still happens. It's happening on all 4 corners. Here, let's watch this. See how the surround is getting, it's kind of getting, now most people, this probably wouldn't even bother, but, and it won't have an effect on the sound quality, but I want to see if I can get it perfect here. Okay, folks, I could see why the surround is getting slightly moved as I'm tightening the screw. Now, this is just the way the speaker's made. Let me just get tight in here and show you. Can I zoom? I got to come out here. Okay. If you look at the hole, it's aligned with the original mounting hole of the Hegeman speaker. But look at this thick piece of rubber surround. It's right there. So the flat washer is getting hung up on that piece of surround, and you know, when you're tightening it, you're going clockwise, and it's kind of twisting this rubber part. So we got to squeeze the washer under there, or squeeze the screw head. I think if I just squeeze the screw head under there and then tighten it, then we won't get the distortion. I think I know how I have to do this. I got to pop the woofer out, put it in hardware, and get it underneath this. Get it underneath that. Otherwise, I have to cut that out. I can always cut it out, but I think I could just move it out of the way, get the head of the bolt under it. This way I'm tightening the bolt against the metal. If you're going to tighten the bolt against the rubber surround, it's going to distort on the inside here. And we don't want that. Alright, after about an hour or so messing around with this, I finally decided to, well, it's not that I decided, but the only way I can get it to work without distorting the rubber surround is, as you can see, is just using the screw without a flat and without a lock washer. And it kind of clears the rubber surround a little bit, but sometimes a piece of it gets underneath. But it kind of just squishes it out. I don't like that, but let me see. Let me show you. See? There's a little piece of the rubber just getting under the screw. You could probably trim that out, I would think. There's a little piece of the rubber getting under this screw head. But that's you know, it's really snug. If I have a problem with the screws vibrating out, I could always use Loctite Blue 242, which is great, and that will work perfect in this application. But the woofer's in. Let's put the tweeter in and see what that looks like. All right, everybody. Continuing with the last and final video. Number one, don't sit on these by accident. That's going to hurt. Okay? Now, here's the finished result. Now, I still don't know how these tweeters are, so I may have to replace these tweeters if they're bad. They're both reading 5.1 ohms. They got a little bit abused. One of them got abused when the cap shorted, and the tweeter got full range, full audio spectrum. So the tweeter wound up being in parallel with the woofer, and it was a big mess. My amp went into protection mode. It was a big mess. These were very power hungry speakers when I got them. I don't know why, and that's why I didn't put the woofers back, even though they may be okay, but there was something wrong. They sounded good, but they were just unbelievably... These speakers are not inefficient, and they shouldn't have had that behavior. Okay, so here's the finished product. I got to tell you, it looks really nice. Oh, there's no clearance problems with this speaker. Now, you know, there are other speakers out there that might work, but you really have to... I went nuts measuring all the dimensions. So you have your mechanical dimensions and your physical dimensions, and I'm sorry, your physical and your electrical parameters. There's not many off-the-shelf speakers that fit a Hegeman Model 1. I'm telling you. Um, so, without modification. So I didn't modify these uh, at all, really, if you think about it. Did I modify them? Oh, yeah. I just made a little chamfer. I just filed this hole a little bit in order to fit this speaker. I think it looks great. I know these are a little dirty, but, I'm afraid to hit them with anything. Because it's wood. You don't want to wet wood. It's going to, it's like a sponge. So these normally just had lock washers. I put new flats, new stainless flats, and new lock washers. The ones I was supposed to use for the woofer, but I didn't use them for the woofer. The woofer just uses these guys. They work great. They have a small head, so it'll fit in that little foam area. And the small head doesn't really doesn't grab the edge of the surround and distort it. Like it was doing it before. I don't like that. I really don't like that. So that's it. I'm gonna end this video. Oh no, I'm not gonna end it. You know why? Because I want to. Hold on a minute. We're gonna put the cover on. I'd have the cover here, so let's put the cover on. I just want you to see the finished product. I'm gonna shift it over and get this in the slots here. Not quite in the slots. Oh, no wonder the bottom's not in the slots. That should, okay. And the bottom ones are in. That's what you get for trying to do this one-handed. There, now it's in. Okay, so you got your little tweeter deflector here. Now I know these are supposed to get some kind of foam on them, but mine are staying like this. I'm not doing any foam. I could probably paint this a nice flat black one day. All right, thank you for watching, everybody. I have to do this speaker B now. Unless this is speaker B. It really doesn't matter. But I'm going to do this other one right now. So have a great night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Oh, one more thing. I don't think I mentioned this, but I don't believe there's going to be any clearance problems between the orange hemispherical diffuser deflector and the dust cap. A lot of speakers, you might have problems with that, so be careful if you're going to use a different speaker than this. I don't even know if this is going to sound good, but I mean, it should. It should sound very good. Okay, bye-bye. Okay, this is the second speaker done. I put in the capacitor and just siliconed everything nice so it stays put. Otherwise, things can vibrate and you don't want that. Both my pots are set with 10 ohms in between the capacitor and the tweeter right now. Only because I was able to measure it. Can't do that once the woofer's in. But it's a good starting point. It's like midpoint on the potentiometer on the tweeter level control. So once again, both these capacitors measure 2.46 microfarads. So I matched the capacitors. I bought 5 of them and I took the 2 that were matched. So I had to extend this lead of this capacitor so it reaches down at the bottom where the positive comes into the speaker. And there's just some old glue residue there where the old capacitors were. So now I'm just going to solder in the woofer and mount the woofer. Just one final comment. Everything's done on these. I just wanted to let you know that the DC resistance as measured from the back terminals with this new woofer in there is 5.9 ohms. They're both measuring 5.9 ohms. I have the tweeter pot set to halfway, about 10 ohms in between it and the tweeter. And my tweeters measure, I think, around 5.1 ohms. I don't know if they're damaged. They may be a little damaged. I don't know. If they make some nice tweets, I'll keep them in there, and I'll just look for replacements for the tweeters. Then these things will be pretty much brand new. I cleaned the potentiometer with deoxit, and so they're all it's nice and clean. I already did that, but when I got the speakers, but I did it again from the inside. You could do it from the outside too. Okay. Thank you very much for watching. And if anybody knows what the DC resistance of the original 8-inch woofer for a Hegeman Model 1 is, when new, DC resistance of just the woofer, not the whole speaker system. It would be nice to know what that is. Okay. Bye. Thanks for watching.